This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're at the Dawson James Small Cap Growth Conference in Florida 2015. I have with me Geert, Kersten from Cel-Sci Corporation. It's a publicly traded company and the symbol is CVM. Geert, welcome to SNNLive.
Shelley, thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. Let's get an overview on Cel-Sci before we ask you more questions.
Our idea is to boost the immune system of cancer patients before it's destroyed by radiation, chemotherapy, and surgery. Those are the normal treatments that you get as a cancer patient. And then you have to wait if it recurs. If it recurs, you try all kinds of heroics, you try new medicines to try to save your life. We think the time to boost the immune system is before it's destroyed by chemo and radiation. So we're doing something that's never been tried. We're boosting the immune system in the short time period between diagnosis and the first treatment in order to give you a greater chance of actually surviving, not having a recurrence. You'll still die, but you will not die from the cancer. Hopefully you'll have a long life ahead of you.
You know, you said something very interesting the first time anybody's ever done this, but you would have thought that somewhere in time a company would have had the same idea, because what I understand, I'm not putting chemo down, it's certainly changed the way treatment of cancer is performed, but you always hear that it's damaging to the body.
I grappled with that question. How come we're the only people to see this? And the answer is we're not the only people to see this. Others have seen it. However, you only have a 3-week window during which you can give your medicine. If you look at the medicines that are out there, they all require more than 3 weeks. Therefore, you cannot fit them into the 3-week window, and the 3-week window cannot, between diagnosis and first treatment, let's say surgery, cannot be extended to try an experimental medicine, because extending it, delaying that surgery may harm the patient. That's clearly not acceptable. So I think the main reason, other than the fact that it's not been done, it takes longer, the main reason that others aren't doing it is because they don't fit into the 3-week window.
So now, let's continue on this. How far along is the company? Obviously I want to know about your clinical trials in particular.
We're in phase 3, that's the final phase. We're about 65–70% done with our enrollment. We have almost 600 people enrolled in the study. We are running our study in 24 countries on 3 continents, obviously including the United States, Canada, all the leading regulators in the world. And this is pretty much the end game.
So, Geert, where is all of this science coming from?
It came from a Max Planck Institute in Germany originally. It was then tested in clinical studies by a leading cytokine expert in London, but then it was brought to the United States for full development, because only in the United States can you take on a project like this. Only in the United States is the glass half full.
So from your standpoint, if you're testing it in FDA trials in 24 countries, is the United States the first to be finished? And again, as we look forward a little bit, by when do you think, without giving me anything you're not allowed to give me, how soon will this be ready for market?
The study is set up so that there's not one country that will come before the other ones. You need to show a 10% improvement in overall survival. For that, essentially 300 people have to die in the 2 main groups. Then you compare the groups and see if you have your 10% improvement in overall survival. And that all of the countries together will be combined to get that. We don't know when 300 people will be dead. We think it may happen in about 2 years. But it's a guesstimate, and we just have to follow it. We'll get a clearer picture as we get closer to the end of that time period.
So do you work with any drug better than another drug, so to speak?
We work with the standard of care. So we focused first on head and neck cancer, which is about 6% of the world's cancer cases. We picked head and neck cancer for several reasons. One, there has been really no major progress in decades. 2, it's an orphan drug in the United States. And 3, it's a huge cancer, so it's a clear unmet medical need. Everybody in our study gets the standard of care. That's surgery followed by radiation or radiation and chemotherapy. And in the multi-kind group, they get multi-kind first. So we are not about the elimination of chemo and radiation. That may come later on. That's not up to us. We're about adding ourselves to the existing treatments so that the patient has a greater chance of living.
In terms of dollars and cents, what's the size of this market from a financial standpoint?
6% of the world's cancer market, approximately 650,000 cases. We have a shot at becoming new standard of care because there's one standard of care that we seek to enhance. But you never get 100%. You take simply 20% of it, and that's still 120,000 people. You're talking 10 plus billions of dollars, and most cancer drugs are actually used more off-label than they are on-label. That means for other indications. The numbers are so big, you really don't have to give it much thought. You just have to be concerned about getting the study done and having it be successful.
So as you stated earlier, it all began in Germany. What part of this company are you doing in the United States?
Everything. We have our manufacturing facility in Maryland. It's a full-scale, $25 million manufacturing facility. Why do we have that before the drug is proven? Because this is the kind of product that if you don't have the manufacturing for phase 3 ready before phase 3, even if you have a successful phase 3 study, you may not get approval. We have all of our people here. Most of the research collaborations, for example, with the NIH, with the US Navy, those are in the US. So we are a US company with people from all over the world. We don't know we're a little company because we're running the study, what is the largest head and neck study in 24 countries on 3 continents. It's the largest study ever done.
So Geert, what's your background?
My background is I'm a lawyer. I have an MBA in finance, I have an accounting degree, and these are skill sets that are very important for biotechnology because from my experience I can tell you there's a lot of good technology out there that will never make it to the finish line because it doesn't have someone with my skill set fighting for it every single day.
So Geert, I want to get your website out there for our audience if you would.
It is www.cel-SCI.com, like cell science but short, cel-sci.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geert, Kersten, Cel-Sci Corporation. It's a publicly traded company, CVM, on the NYSE. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNNLive, and we're coming to you live from the Dawson James Small Cap Growth Conference in Florida, 2015. Geert, thank you for coming on to SNNLive.
Thank you so much. I much appreciate it.
You're welcome.